This is a dangerous group that we're dealing with now.
That's right. Check this out.
Go.
Hi, we made it. A little bit late, but we made it. Welcome to the Sundowner Files for Monday, the 29th of May.
Howdy,
Yay.
guys.
Mandy's with me. Yay.
And to invoke the bee. Doo-doo. Doo-doo. Doo-doo.
I love the teeth that comes with the bee. I really do.
Yeah, better than mine.
Well, you know, Mad, I have to put this up. That's an excellent run, but I'm going to do as an outro just because it's a little bit shorter than what an intro is desired. Let's be real, we need longer than that time frame to get our shit together to start a show.
Not kidding. It took nearly that long for bloody YouTube to catch up to being live.
Exactly. So, and guys, anybody who's here, if you can't stick around for the whole show, come back and have a look because the outro that we've got that Mad did is brilliant. It really is. So
It is good. Couldn't do the music any longer on it, but at the length it is, it's awesome.
Well,
and the graphics,
you know, we need the graphics are awesome. We need to work on the music, and I do have somebody working on music for it. But you know, hey, when you're working with freebie stuff that you find on the internet, there's only so much you can do. So you know, yes, there is that. Mandy, do you want to answer this one on screen?
I say this is how it's going to be today, Cass.
Apparently so, yes. So the heat is not all on me for once. I'm quite happy about that. Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. And we've started even, well,
at least I've been thrown in the
better
bucket now to shave my legs if necessary.
Oh, dear Lordy.
All right, guys. So clearly we're both a bit delirious and ourselves today.
Situation normal.
Yep. And one guess what the highlighted topic's going to be today?
First up, it only was brought to the attention. What? Oh, Jesus.
Just help some climb, Mad. That's all.
I got nothing. I really got nothing. Nothing at all. This was only brought to the attention, I'm going to say maybe an hour and a half ago. And I was on a video call and I had my computer going ding, ding, ding. And I had the phones going buzz, buzz, buzz in the background. And
Sorry.
then I figured out what was going on. So, first up, add to stream. The clown has resigned. So, what we've got.
Hence the disclaimer.
Oh, yeah, that helps. That helps. We've got a 7-minute clip. This is from, I think, 9 News. There's a lot of ones out there that are way longer than this and way too long for what we do here. So we're just going to play this one and then we'll chat in 7 minutes.
Right, thank you so much for coming at such short notice. I'm going to read out a brief statement, then I'll take some questions. Today I'm announcing that I'll be stepping down as Premier and as member for Rockingham. I was elected as Premier of Western Australia in March 2017, more than 6 years ago now. Prior to that, I served as opposition leader for more than 5 years. All up, I've held the privileged position of WA Labor leader for around 11 and a half years. I've served in Parliament for 26 and a half years as either Premier, Opposition Leader, Minister, Shadow Minister, Parliamentary Secretary, and of course, as the member for Rockingham. Prior to that, I served for 3 years as a Rockingham City Councillor and Deputy Mayor. That's nearly 30 years in public life. It's been an honour and a privilege to serve the people of this state and my community over this time. It's way beyond what I could ever have imagined my career would amount to. Western Australia has provided me with the opportunity of a lifetime. As a young naval officer, when I drove across the Nullarbor in my Corolla in June 1991 to begin my posting at Garden Island, I never imagined I would one day become the Premier of Western Australia. When I was elected as Premier, I had ambitions for our state. I wanted Western Australia to become the strongest, most successful state in the nation, to become more economically diversified and have the strongest public finances, to be socially reformist with landmark achievements in conservation and environmental protection as well, to provide our citizens with quality public services and long-term infrastructure for our long-term future. I stand here today and I know our state is in the position I set out to reach. We have the strongest economy in Australia and one of the strongest in the world. We turned our finances around, returning the budget to surplus and with debt being repaid. We regained the AAA credit rating. We have the best funded healthcare, police and education services in Australia. We invested in TAFE and training, significantly reducing TAFE fees and embarking on major upgrades to TAFE campuses across the state. We secured a fair share of the GST. We're taking climate action with a massive program of national parks expansion, safely transitioning out of coal-fired power, and we're stopping the logging of our native forests. We've passed groundbreaking social reforms, including voluntary assisted dying laws, and achieved the long-held ambition of making our parliament truly democratic. We've invested significantly in a wide range of industries, creating quality jobs for West Australians into the future. We are building the economic and social infrastructure for our state's future. The biggest ever expansion of our public transport system is under construction across our suburbs. Metronet will connect communities, connect people and job and training opportunities, and deliver affordable transport options for Western Australians long into the future. We've embarked on a significant program of upgrading our public hospitals across our suburbs and our regional towns. The new Women's and Babies Hospital is fully funded and ready to be built. And the foundations are now there for WA's next major port and a new desalination plant to serve our state for the next 100 years and beyond. Plus so much more.
Deserve his retirement.
I've loved the role. I've loved being able to deliver on our agenda for the benefit of our state. I've loved the challenge of solving problems, making decisions, getting outcomes and helping people. But the truth is I'm tired, extremely tired. In fact, I'm exhausted.
Bullshit.
The role of political leadership doesn't stop. It's relentless. It comes with huge responsibility that is all-consuming each and every day. And combined with the COVID years, it's taken it out of me. I'm convinced WA Labor can win and will win the next election in 2025. But I just don't have the energy or drive that's required to continue in the role as Premier, or to fight that election, which would have been my 8th election as a Member of Parliament. This job is like no other. After 7 elections across nearly 3 decades, now is the right time to step away from the job that I have loved. Therefore, I'll be resigning as Premier and Member for Rockingham. This week will be my final week. It's not a decision I've taken lightly. I've been considering it for quite a while, but I needed to hand down the state budget before I made a final decision. In taking this step, I know 2 things. WA is stronger and more successful than ever before, and the government has a great team and can very, very easily replace me. I'd just like to acknowledge and thank a few people before I take some questions from you. To all my ministerial and caucus colleagues, thank you for the support over nearly 3 decades. The Cabinet team I leave behind is full of quality, experience and energy, ready to take the state forward. To my staff, can I pass on my deepest thanks and gratitude, especially my Chiefs of Staff as Premier, Guy Houston and Daniel Pastorelli, both brilliant people. To the West Australian branch of the Australian Labor Party, its members and affiliated unions, thank you. All of us in public life are nothing without the party and its members and supporters. I'll be forever grateful and very loyal. I am honoured to have led the WA Labor Party for as long as I have. To the WA public sector, its workers and leaders, thank you. The global pandemic that was COVID-19 forced us to change how we would normally govern. The dedicated efforts of leaders in the WA public sector played a significant role in WA's world-leading response and management. So thank you very much. To the business community who have worked collaboratively with my government and helped make our economy as strong as it is today, thank you. To my political opponents, past and present, thank you for your contribution. People who take on a role in public life are taking on a responsibility that is deserving of our respect. To my family, can I pass on my love and thanks? Being Premier takes a huge toll on your family life. No one can do this job without the support and understanding of their family. To my wife Sarah and our 3 children, Samuel, Alexander and Amelia, thank you for everything over so many hard years. To Sarah's parents, Gwen and Neil, and her late brother Dean, thank you. To my mother and father, Dennis and Mary and Dennis, and my brother Michael, thank you so very much. To the people of this great state, thank you. Wherever you live or whatever you do or however you vote, thank you. It's been an absolute privilege to serve as the 30th Premier of Western Australia. I'm so grateful.
Okay. I don't know. What have you got, Mandy? I need to go find a bucket.
Well, it's good riddance. But in saying that, it's going to be interesting to see who is up next and what they stand for.
Exactly.
Their portfolio, etc.
Exactly. And there's been a few names thrown up in the time that I've had, and none of them really make any sense. But let's be honest, nothing about any politics makes any sense. So, yeah.
And was it my imagination, or did I catch earlier on the breaking stream via, was it Freedom WA?
I think so. That's the one that I was watching to start with. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he say that he'd made up his mind while he was in China to leave, but also was giving it time, one, to work himself out basically, but also to get somebody up in, ready to take his place already?
I didn't see that bit.
Maybe
That's
I heard
interesting.
I am delirious today and whatnot. So I might have to go rewatch it at some point to be sure, or the main ABC one anyway. So that's the one that they were following, for those who aren't aware. And yeah, I've heard that Koshi also resigned today, Andrew. I'd seen it as a meme on Cybos the other day, so I haven't looked into it further to see if that's a genuine thing or if it's somebody's taken the meme as serious.
That's interesting. There's a lot. Yeah, show it. Bring it up if you can. I miss that.
Yeah, I will. Hang on. Oh. Honest government ad. Sorry, this is on my homepage, and I'll chuck.
I saw that come up, and I haven't got it in there for today.
I don't know how we'd go showing this one anyway, but for us South Australians, it'll especially be interesting to watch.
Please show it. Please show it. I actually had it. I had it saved for showing tomorrow because it was so late. But yes, please do it. Please do it. Please do it. So here we go, guys. This is off script because we have both of us here. This is what happens. I got it. Add straight. Got it.
Cheers. All right. Let's see what they say.
Hello. I'm from the South Australian government. Or to put an end to peaceful protests in our state. That might sound like a bad law, and civil rights groups, legal experts, even our unions are saying it's a bad law. But here at the South Australian government, we reflected on it and said, are we out of touch? No, it's the people who are wrong. Introducing the Obstruction of Public Places Bill. If passed, this law will impose huge increases in fines and even jail time for obstructing a public place. What constitutes obstructing is super vague. That's because we bashed this bill together in 20 minutes with help from the shit party and rushed it through with no consultation, which means it'll pretty much target anyone. Unions and workers protesting for better pay, students striking for climate action, even someone handing out flyers. We realise this might discourage many of you from attending any protest ever again, but we're here to reassure you that's precisely the intent, which might seem odd coming from a party whose roots lie in the protest movement, but it makes total sense once you realise we're now the party of the oil and gas companies who own our ass, and those companies are really unhappy that some of you sprayed paint on the Santos building and peacefully protested outside a conference where they were discussing how to keep making more money from killing the world, to which we literally told them, we're at your disposal. And to prove it, this guy, who is Santos's bitch, introduced this new law the very next. Rest assured, it definitely has nothing to do with the fact that Pete's brother works for Santos as head of government relations. Cool and normal. Also, no conflict of interest with Santos sponsoring police cars in this country. Cool and... With this new law, South Australia joins other states that have recently passed laws to punish peaceful protests. Sure, our penalties will be the harshest in Australia, but be grateful, because as this dickhead said, in some countries you'd get your head chopped off for protesting. Visit South Australia, land of freedom, where protesting only gets you bankrupted and jailed for 3 months. If you'd like to support this shitfuckery, please blame the
greeny lefty losers
for inconveniently disrupting traffic instead of the cunts who are killing our mother. We love it when you fight each other instead of us. And if you don't support our new law, well, now would be the time to say, fuck this shit, and peacefully protest in the streets. Or tomorrow,
Tuesday
it'll
the
be
30th
illegal. This has been a message from the government of Santos, South Australia. Fuck you. Authorised by the Department at the
I'm going to
Disposal
have
of
to
Gas
keep a lookout
Companies.
for rallies tomorrow, guys.
Thank you to all our patrons for making the Honest Government ads possible. Especially
The link is right here for anybody who would like to rewatch it again thereafter.
And
There's
anybody who
Extinction
wants to,
Rebellion. The fucking they're topping their reasons for making these laws right now. What
Yeah.
a surprise once again. Right,
honestly, anybody who wants to
That's what I was
support
doing.
these guys, please go right ahead.
If you want to help us keep
We don't do any monetization on any of our channels. And there's a reason for that, because we both have a bit of integrity. But these guys who do this work, absolutely. If you feel like you need to, go and support them. Absolutely.
Here we go.
Now, before we move on, just a bit of news from me. I've decided to hang up the boots as co-host of Sunrise after nearly 21 years, over 5,300 shows, and Nat, stop it. And almost 16,000 hours of live TV. It's time to work some business hours, I reckon, and have a bit of flexibility to focus more on Lib, our very big family, as you know, our family business, and frankly, my footy club as well. So after 20 consecutive premierships in the breakfast TV ratings game, I'm frankly finding it harder to get off the ground to take those specky marks, and I reckon it's time to bring through the next generation. Let me tell you, I don't want to be a list clogger. I started here before Facebook, before Instagram, before Twitter and iPhone. Yes, that's how old I am. And I loved every single minute of it. And I'm incredibly proud of what we've achieved here over the last 21 years. I've been privileged to experience so many great adventures, to meet so many incredible people, and to cover so many moments of history in the making. It really is the world's best job. I'm going to miss working with the entire Sunrise team, but particularly Nat Koretz and Dave Walters, who have been with me for virtually the entire time that I've been here on the show. I reckon I've spent more time with them than my family, and it has been an absolute joy. I'll miss you, the Sunrise viewers, who have energised me every single day and been so lovely every time we've met in person. Look, I know I'm going to miss it enormously, but Sunrise has always been bigger than any one person. It just seems right to exit stage left on Friday next week. I will do so with enormous pride and gratitude, and thank you for having me. Back in a moment.
Okay. Does anybody else remember his live stream the morning of the Lint Cafe setup?
Sorry, what? Who?
Does anybody else remember his live streams the morning of the Lint Cafe issue?
No. I mean, I remember the incident, but no, I don't remember how he went about it, because I probably went out of my way not to look at how they were going about it.
Yeah, I happen to be watching that particular show, and it was all very well scripted.
Of course.
Of course. And yeah, Jared, I'm not going to put that comment up on the show, simply because this is the backup channel and the main channel's on its final warning. And the same answer was, I'm not putting that one up either.
Right, yeah, we feel you guys.
Anybody who's watching this after, so if we still survive, anybody who's watching this tomorrow, please read the chat just to see what we're laughing at.
And if you are looking for the chat beforehand, it can take anywhere usually up to 24 hours for the chat to rehook to the stream after upload processing.
No, don't be sorry, Jared. You got a very
Don't
big
be
giggle.
sorry.
You got a very big giggle out of me. Oh my goodness. So we're 25 minutes in and we've done 2 stories.
3?
Oh, 3. Okay.
Why not?
Do I even try and go back to the script or?
Why the fuck not?
Oh, good Lord. Okay. So that one's done. Oh, here we go for the clown show. Lydia Thorpe.
You want me to read then? Yeah.
Independent Senator Lydia Thorpe is considering abstaining from voting on the legislation to enable the voice referendum in the Senate, but she has ruled out supporting the No campaign.
Blah, blah, blah. That's all I've got for this woman.
She is the biggest waste of oxygen in Australian politics right now, and that says a lot because there's a lot. But I reckon this one takes it. I don't know. Anybody else has got something to throw up? I don't know. I'm going to throw this one up. Sorry. Well, between the brands, we've got 5 channels. One's on, 2 are in jail, one's on its final, and the other 2 are kind of free at the minute. So let's not just tempt fate there. Yes. Anyways,
I think so, Andrew, but I can't be sure right now.
what have we got? Yes. Yeah, I agree. I'm with Mandy. Yeah. So, all right. Next up, in the news, we have. Oh yeah. So this is one. There's a couple of videos that are doing the rounds. Basically, this is what they're doing to.
Sorry.
Oh, good Lord! I'm trying to follow chat as well, and I'm also trying to find the link that I've got here, because yeah, I just throw it in there and I don't always find it.
Yeah, and when you group up things as well, they can come up in the different order to what you want them to come up in.
Exactly, and I'm not finding that. I'm really not. I'm just going to skip that one, I think.
All right.
Again, everybody here, it's all in the Telegram group, so this is where it all comes from. We don't show anything that isn't there. That's why we skim over some stuff.
Unless we go on little side tracks like just before, but they're probably in there already too.
Yeah, usually. Do you want this one, or do you want me to try and do this one without?
I'll go full screen.
Snorting. Hey, Wanda.
What? Pederastic drone, whatever that is, identifies as a 12-year-old girl, and unfortunately, the FBI got this one right. Sorry, did I say fortunately or unfortunately? It's meant to be fortunately. Anyway, we have kept the relationship. Well, we have to keep the relationship a secret. So to the public, I'm gonna be your nanny, but when we are home, we are girlfriends. It's just so we don't get in trouble. Then when you're not a minor, we can express our love in public. Okay. Shadows wrote, according to the affidavit, in one conversation with the undercover agent posing as a child, Shadows explicitly details what the proposed sexual activity might include, listing oral and penetrative sex and advising the girl that he still has a penis. On January 26, Shadows travelled from Vermont to Warren County, New York, with the intention of having sex with the child. When arrested, Shadows had an engagement ring, condoms, and gifts for the child on his person. During questioning, he claimed the sexual texts were nothing more than role-playing. So, do we know where that article was from? Oh, sorry.
No, that's all good. It's there. Yeah, there is a source down the bottom. I have seen that one in 3 different places on 3 different sources today, and they all link back to different ones. So for anybody who's not up on how I do stuff, anything that I will show here or drop in the Telegram group, it's always verified by more than one place. I don't drop stuff anywhere unverified unless I say it is unverified. So I'll put it in there and go, we're not too sure. Yeah, this is one that I found in a few places. So you look at the picture of it, seriously. And yeah, and this is what's happening. The thing is, this isn't an isolated incident. This is constantly happening. There is that many of these people out there that are now gaining a freedom of voice to be open about what they do. So, anyways, shall we take a breath and look at the next one that I've got there?
Yeah, I'll stop holding it now.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what I've got next. Oh, actually, no, I've got 2 in this one. All right. Is it that one? Yes. So this is a 14-minute clip. The smartest man in the world. And yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
Okay. I'll put you up.
Yeah. Cool.
1944, William James Sidis's landlord found him unconscious in a small Boston boarding house. He had suffered a massive stroke and lay dying. William may have been the smartest person who ever lived. His IQ was somewhere between 250 and 300. To put that in perspective, Einstein's was estimated to be 200. William's parents were brilliant Ukrainian Jewish immigrants. Boris Sidis was a renowned psychologist. Sarah Sidis went to medical school at a time when few women did. William, or Billy as he was known, learned the alphabet by 6 months of age. At 18 months, he could read the New York Times. He enrolled at Harvard University at age 11. When he graduated, William told reporters he intended to live the perfect life, but that would not come to be. William James Sidis was born on April Fool's Day, 1898, in New York City. Violent anti-Semitic attacks in Ukraine, which was then part of the Russian Empire, drove his parents to the Promised Land, where they met when Boris tutored Sarah in English. She encouraged him to go to Harvard, where he studied psychology and used some of his psychological principles to help mold his son. He said, "You know the old saying, as the twig is bent, the tree's inclined. Parents cannot too soon begin the work of bending the minds of their children in the right direction."
William's parents attributed his extraordinary intelligence not to genes, but to his upbringing.
They treated him like an adult. When he was a few months old, William's parents placed food and a spoon in front of him. They let him observe, and he learned to feed himself. His mom recalled, he squealed with delight. No one had taught him. He had reasoned it out. This natural way of reasoning is also how his parents taught him to spell. Instead of learning through memorization, William learned to spell by focusing on the underlying patterns and structures. For example, if he learned the word bat using letter block,
Gus's reception will be back shortly.
he found the fundamental principles of language structure. Besides English, he knew Latin, Greek, German, Russian, Hebrew, Turkish, French, and Armenian. He even invented his own language as a child, Vendergood, which drew on European influences. Instead of reading him fairy tales at bedtime, his parents read him Greek myths, which helped him learn about the planets. Jupiter is named after the Roman god Jupiter, which is adapted from Zeus in Greek mythology. Every moment was an opportunity to learn. William had no desire for or interest in playing with toys. He didn't play sports or any games at recess.
His father thought such childish pursuits were silly and meaningless. William also had a tremendous fear of dogs. Good girl. Good girl.
His only enjoyment was riding on streetcars when his parents took him to museums, libraries, parks, and zoos. He collected 1,600 streetcar transfers by the time he was in his 20s. William ended up finishing elementary school in less than 1 year, and high school in 6 weeks. His mom remarked, the newspapers never missed a chance to try and prove that he was insane or psychotic or simply a freak. In truth, Billy was a completely normal child in every respect. The media attention followed him to Harvard, where they portrayed him as a know-it-all, like in this New Yorker cartoon where he's lecturing to a group of men. After entering Harvard at age 11, he gave a lecture to the math club about the fourth dimension, which is an extension beyond the 3D space we experience. Here he's talking about shapes with many sides in the fourth dimension, which demonstrates his astounding ability to comprehend complex mathematical concepts beyond his years. A professor at MIT who attended the lecture proclaimed, I predict that young Sidus will be a great astronomical mathematician. Yet, this never happened. In fact, he would grow to resent mathematics. Shortly after the lecture, he fell ill, which made all the news. The media reported that he had suffered a mental breakdown, which was a rumor that dogged him his entire life. He did live with his family on an estate in New Hampshire that was also the grounds of the sanatorium Boris was running. William only returned to Harvard several months later and never fit in. His biographer, Amy Wallace, described how he was, quote, a complete freak in the eyes of his fellow students. He had none of the social graces, no interest in sports or girls, and was several years younger. When he graduated from Harvard, he told reporters, I want to live the perfect life. The only way to live the perfect life is to live it in seclusion. I've always hated crowds. His idea of the perfect life is described in a paper he wrote about a utopian society called Hesperia. Hesperia's constitution began with "We the people," reminiscent of the US Constitution. But that is where the similarities end. In Hesperia, those who want citizenship have to pass an intelligence test. Marriage is forbidden, while polygamy is completely legal. Interestingly, children are not raised by their biological parents, and instead, male children shall be assigned to the charge of male guardians and female children to the charge of female guardians. He rejected the influence of his parents, particularly that of his domineering mother. After leaving Harvard, he took up a position teaching mathematics at Rice Institute, now Rice University in Houston. He was 17 years old. Just like at Harvard, William didn't fit in at Rice. Students teased him for never having kissed a girl. Girls faked crushes on him as a joke. He stayed at Rice for only 8 months, and then enrolled at Harvard Law School in the fall of 1916. Then, for some unknown reason, he quit in his last semester. His mother was furious and would tell people that her son left his studies because Harvard Law had shut down due to World War I, which was not true. William was very much anti-war. He refused to register for the draft and nearly went to prison if it weren't for the armistice of 1918 that ended the First World War. He was extremely passionate about politics. He was briefly jailed after leading a May Day rally in Boston, an anti-war workers' rights rally organized by the socialists that turned violent. He rebelled against the capitalist system that propelled his parents from their status as poor immigrants to a position of success in American society. While in jail, he met and fell head over heels for Martha Foley, a 20-year-old Irish girl who grew up in Boston, despite telling the Boston Herald earlier that he vowed to remain celibate, saying, "Women do not appeal to me." After the arrest, he followed Martha to New York. They kissed, but Martha assured him there would be nothing more. William's unrequited love may have affected the trajectory of his life. William's friend Julius Eichel said, Sidus admitted that her love might have achieved wonders with him. He carried a photograph of her in his pocket until the day he died. Martha went on to marry a writer and achieved notoriety for co-founding the literary magazine Story. When her memoirs were published, she briefly mentioned William in a single line, in which she called him the famous and tragic prodigy who was the first boy ever to pay court to me. Despite his brilliance, William failed to achieve greatness, and any work that did show promise was overlooked. In 1925, he published a book that challenged the second law of thermodynamics, the principle that the universe is headed toward heat death. Versus direction. He theorized that living things could tap into a hidden source of energy to counteract the process.
He gave an example of a ball bouncing down the stairs, which, when played in reverse, appears as if a hidden source of energy is pushing the ball up the stairs.
He did acknowledge that his work was speculative and his theory has never been proven, but it was never taken seriously in the first place. It was ignored. There wasn't a single review during its time. He made headlines for being a boy prodigy and for his private life, yet no one paid attention to his academic work. He stopped writing about physics, math, and cosmology altogether. While in New York, he took on menial jobs, including working as an operator at an office that was using an early mechanical calculator called a comptometer. The papers were all too keen to splash the headlines about the boy wonder earning an average wage of $23 a week. He hid his genius from his coworkers. When they found out who he was, he'd move on to the next job. He refused to accept higher paying work in which he had to use his intellect. Once, he was offered a job with a railway company who tried to put him to work solving their technical problems. One of the officials later found him crying. William told him he couldn't bear the thought of doing math. Another time, a cousin needed his math skills to help solve a dental problem involving the alignment of teeth. He offered William $3,000, the equivalent of $55,000 today. It would have taken him 2 hours to solve, but he refused. William's biographer concludes he could not take a job of complex figuring without risking emotional and physical illness. His entire life had been defined by pressure to perform at a high level, at the expense of mastering basic life skills. He confessed to an aunt that he had never been taught to tie his shoelaces. His parents may have provided him with an exceptional education, yet they failed to teach him the basics of grooming. He didn't shave regularly, wore a worn-out cap. He reportedly didn't bathe, or at least not often, and the stench was said to be brutal. When his father suffered a stroke and died in October 1923, he never attended the funeral. According to William's biographer, the reason was that he refused to see his mom. William hated that she dominated him as a child. The Siduses didn't raise their other child with the same intensity. William's younger sister, Helena, did not get a formal elementary or high school education. Helena said that her father had become so fed up with William that he didn't want to educate her. She was also seriously ill as a child. Nonetheless, she thrived under the guidance of her brother, who taught her how to read and write, and she passed the entrance exams to attend university. In his 30s, William settled in Boston, again doing menial jobs. The media had a heyday when they found out he was working as a lowly office clerk. An unflattering article in a Boston daily newspaper read, William J. Sidus, now 39, was once declared by a group of eminent scientists to be a coming innovator in the field of science, with potentialities as great as Einstein and as brilliant as Marconi. Yet yesterday, a Sunday Advertiser writer found him in a small room, wallpapered in dark, where for the past 5 years he has lived unknown, unsung, uncaring. His health had also started to decline. He was overweight and had high blood pressure, which eventually caused a stroke, the kind that claimed his father. On July 17, 1944, William James Sidis died of a cerebral hemorrhage which led to pneumonia. He was 46 years old. He was buried beside his father in New Hampshire. William didn't achieve the level of success or prominence expected of someone so brilliant. Was it because his parents pushed him too far? A faculty member at Rice University, where William briefly taught, disagreed. Dr. Gerard believes he was the victim not of intensive education given by his father, nor of the romantic curse called genius, but of the thoughtless cruelty of the public. The New York Times once excitedly described William as a wonderfully successful result of a scientific forcing experiment, and as such furnishes one of the most interesting mental phenomena in history. As we now know, early success did not guarantee a fulfilling and successful life. If William had a different upbringing, the outcome of his life might have been entirely different. One thing that's certain is his exceptional mastery of science and mathematics. If you'd like to sharpen your skills in STEM, I recommend Brilliant.org, a website and app where you can answer puzzling questions like this. A cup of warm water is suspended in a large pot of water held at a steady boil. Will the water in the cup ever boil? Assume the large pot never runs out of water. The answer is that it will never boil. As the cup of water heats up to 100 degrees Celsius in the boiling pot, heat flow stops since both are at the same temperature. Brilliant can enhance your scientific thinking, computer science, and math skills no matter your skill level, giving you an edge in today's competitive marketplace. I use Brilliant to go through their logic courses, which have improved my analytical thinking. You can try out Brilliant for free for 30 days by heading to the custom link in my description, brilliant.org/newsthink. And the
Please
first
stop
200 people who sign up with my link.
Yeah, I had to. I generally like to let the adverts play out simply because it's not our original work, but that was killing me. That was an interesting one. I agree with a lot of what was said in chat in that.
Yeah. Well, Cassie. Oh, sorry. You're going to have to repeat yourself, sweetheart. Your connection failed.
Of course. You cannot compare a goldfish to a giraffe.
No.
So, yeah. Intellect.
Whoops.
Okay, hand off the mouse. You do it. You cannot compare a goldfish to a giraffe. Holy shit.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. I can't hear anything, so I didn't know if I was still going or not. Okay. How you doing, Shane? All right. Do we want to try one more of these? Because
Yeah. Before we do,
yeah.
Oops, what am I doing? That reminded me of something that's shitting me on normal TV that I'm seeing advertised. It's a new series starting on Channel 7 where it's either 12 or 13 families are being are judging each other's parenting skills.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not fucking kidding. Kind of like one extreme to the next type thing. Where it's going to take it from there. Personally, that's what I think anyway.
I've got nothing. I'm sitting here sighing.
It literally makes me, consider, the babies being born in labs, and that next step of, well, nobody can parent their kids properly, so we're going to take them off your hands, and we'll bring them into society when
we judge them ready.
I mean, I could be wrong, but
no, I quite agree with you. I really do agree with you. I saw an advert today, and we all know that I don't, I don't have access, thankfully. I'm going to turn my camera off now because my sunlight's gone. I don't have access, but I also can't watch mainstream. I saw an advert today for a new show called F Boys.
What? Please.
Oh, I'm really not too sure. It's something about throwing a whole heap of blokes on a island and letting women loose at them, and it's called F Boys.
Okay.
That's all I've got. That's all I know. I backed right the hell away from it simply because the connotation of it alone was enough to make me go, But yeah, exactly, Andrew.
Yeah, it's exactly what it sounded like.
Yes. Now, if this is what they're putting on our TVs, what the hell are they showing the next generation?
Well, again.
Oh, I don't know which one I want to answer. Yeah, Shane. Yeah, one can swim and one can eat the top of trees. You cannot compare the two. It's that simple. You cannot put the pair of them in a standardized learning program and expect them to both come out the same.
That's right. A giraffe is never going to swim as eloquently as a goldfish.
And a goldfish will never have the sustainability on land as what a giraffe will. So, how the hell do we expect the pair of them to compete? It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah, we're talking about the system they have to work within.
Exactly. So here we go. Here's a 1-minute clip that goes with the school system. There we go.
Cool.
How in schools?
Schools train people to be ignorant with style. They give you the equipment that you need to be a functional ignoramus. American schools do not equip you to deal with things like logic. They don't give you the criteria by which to judge between good and bad in any medium or format. And they prepare you to be a usable victim for a military-industrial complex that needs manpower. As long as you're just smart enough to do a job and just dumb enough to swallow what they feed you, you're going to be all right. But if you go beyond that, you're going to have these grave doubts that give you stomach problems, headaches, make you want to go out and do something else. So I believe that schools mechanically and very specifically try and breed out any hint of creative thought in the kids that are coming up.
That's my answer. I've said that for years. That is my answer. And I've just hit the go button. I answered that in chat and it's just, there we go. Seriously.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of evidence out there to back that up for anybody who hasn't seen it yet and wants to look into it further.
Yeah. pretty much.
Pretty much everyone here, I dare say, has already.
I think, again, everybody who is here, especially on the Chatter channel, you guys all agree. You know, we're not trying to show you guys stuff. We're trying to give you guys stuff that you can share out to other people and have the conversation. Yeah, you all see it. That's why you're here. And on that note, that's it. That's what I had lined up.
Cool. Well, you guys, and now we'll get to see Mad's outro for us. Thank you very much.
You will. We appreciate it. We really, really do.
Yep.
And just as a quick little note, we are here on Chatters for the next 2 weeks because we're on second strike over on Last Bullshit now. Yeah. Anybody who you think needs to catch up with us, send them this way.
Thanks for all being here with us, guys. And we'll see you in the soup.
Love you all. Thank you.
Bye.